and welcome into Getting Help from Uncle Sam or Auntie Alabama. And we have Judge Love, J.C. Love.
Yes.
We really love working with you. And Judge Love is the probate judge from Montgomery County, and we were talking and wanted to share some information with you about the other things that the probate office does. It doesn't just work with your license or your tag. You do a lot of things, and I wanted to ask you something that was a question I was asked. When you have an older person who either has dementia or Alzheimer's or is not capable of making their own decisions, how do you go about a conservatorship or being able to do that for someone legally?
Well, that's becoming something that we are seeing more and more of as parents and family and family members are beginning to age. So one of the things you would do is file a petition down at the probate court. The person who you're seeking the guardianship for would go ahead and be served with the petition. They would be appointed a guardian ad litem by the court, would be someone who would go and meet with them and then make a determination about whether or not they thought that it was in their best interest for the guardianship or the conservatorship petition to be granted. That also would undergo an examination by a physician.
Okay.
And a court representative who's a therapist would also go ahead and talk with them and evaluate them and also make a recommendation about what they think from a clinical standpoint about whether or not the conservatorship or guardianship should be granted. And the medical doctor would just do an examination, see what their mental status was. Are they able to comprehend what's going on? Do they feel they're able to knowing, intelligently understand what's going on and be able to handle their affairs? And so they all make a recommendation to me as a judge, and we have a hearing on it. As well as if the ward, that's the person who the conservatorship or guardianship is being sought for, if they want to testify as well, then they have the opportunity to testify. And then after all the testimony, then I make a decision. Now, one of the things that we do try to tell people that if you have someone, particularly when you're dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's, that if you're going to try to not handle it on the front end before coming to us through a power of attorney, then you've got to catch it early before they've lost the ability to be able to make decisions and being able to comprehend, because at that point in time, you can't knowingly and intelligently enter into a power of attorney, and so then you have to go down the conservatorship and guardianship route.
Wow, that's a great example of doing something when the time is right to do it.
Oh, yes. That
you have that drawn up while someone is obviously capable of doing that and agreeing to that. I'm fascinated, and that is a hard process. So if you want to actually get the guardianship of someone, you have to go through a strong process to do that, which is really good because it protects someone from taking away your rights.
Well, that's true. We're looking at taking away someone's liberty, their ability to decide what they're going to do for their health and safety, make decisions for themselves, and also handle their affairs. And we want to make sure we have the safeguards there, that we've brought in the therapists and the clinical professionals who can go ahead and assist us with making a recommendation about how to proceed. And so we don't grant every petition that comes in, but we give everyone a thorough and careful analysis and do take the time to review the reports and talk to those who evaluate them, and then decide, if we need to grant a conservatorship or guardianship.
Now, another question, you're not called the probate judge for
Yes.
any. What is probate? when you have a will or whatever,
Yes.
What is probate?
Probating is really you're bringing someone's state before the court. Now, when someone dies, that someone has to come through and kind of wind down their affairs to get assets out of their name, to pay off all of their debts. And so that's what it's called, probating. It's really just trying to bring their affairs before the court. So if you have a last will and testament, then we'll appoint the administrator to be able to handle it. But if you died without a will or intestate, then we will appoint an administrator who will come in and be that person that will deal with distributing assets according to your heirs, as paying off your bills, and otherwise transferring assets out of your name.
Well, that is major important. Yes. Nobody should die without a will. I think
that's true.
Really. And let's end on a happy note here. You do also at the probate court a couple of other things
Yes.
that we think are wonderful. And name two of those.
Well, we're a court of original jurisdiction for adoption. So all adoptions in Alabama originate in the probate court. And so I enjoy the adoptions and the weddings because that's when everyone's the happiest. With the adoptions, we have a courtroom full of people, family members there. We're taking pictures. So it's a joyous occasion. And so I also enjoy the weddings, bringing families together. So, you know, you have the brides that come in with their dresses and the kids are sometimes with them dressed up and family members. And so we try to make it for them as special as possible. And so if the bride comes with a father or a brother or a male on their side, then I make them walk them down the aisle. So, you know, that's their moment. And so we always give them the time to take their pictures and, you know, Valentine's is always a big day for us as well. And so we had about 10 couples on Valentine's Day that got married. So
how great to have your certificate, Judge Love. I can't think, you must have had a million.
Oh, yes. So the staff of Valentine's Day, they decorate the room in the area nice for the couples.
Right.
And so those are the two things that I really enjoy because people aren't fighting over anything.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
But you just get a chance to really celebrate in their happy and joyous moment with them.
Well, thank you for everything that you do, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me on. Glad to be here.
And we'll be right back.